So in this video, we are going to discuss the process of digestion, as well as the various accessory organs that our digestive system is going to use to help us break down our foods. The first thing to talk about is mechanical versus chemical digestion, right? So mechanical digestion is going to be something that is going to break down our food mechanically. So a good example is over here, which we'll get to, which is like chewing, right? It's a mechanical action, whereas chemical is something where we use chemicals to break down our food, and that would be something like our saliva. Right, so just keep that in mind throughout the process. It's not just happening at the beginning of the digestion process, it's happening all throughout. So those are the two major ways that we break down our food. So with that said, first things first, we ingest our food. That just means you put the food into your mouth, right? So the first part of digestion is putting food into your mouth. From here, we can begin mastication. Mastication is a term for you're going to begin chewing your food and breaking it down in your mouth. There's two ways to break food down in your mouth, just like I said. You can chew it, which is mechanical, or chemical, which is when you use enzymes and other chemicals to break down your food. In this case, we use the enzyme amylase. Amylase specifically breaks down starch, which is a sugar, or in other words, carbs. So if you want to break down carbohydrates, we have that enzyme in our mouth. So in other words, if you spit in a cup and you put a piece of bread in the cup, give it some time and it'll begin to break down because of amylase. Next, we are going to swallow our food, right? So after you start breaking it down in your mouth, you swallow your food. I think at this point, we're kind of doing things that we do every day, right? So you're not really thinking too far outside of the box on this one. This is how you eat your food, right? So the first three steps are pretty straightforward. And then we move into a few steps that maybe you don't think too much about when you're eating. And that is going to be peristalsis. The fourth one is going to be moving the food from your mouth to your stomach. Fortunately, we have this lovely thing called gravity, which helps our food move from a high location to a low location. However, sometimes you need a little more help. So you have muscles in your esophagus, which in your throat, right, which we'll talk about, that are going to push the food down into your stomach. So in other words, if you are doing a handstand and you eat a cookie, you can still swallow it and it'll still go into your stomach, even though you're upside down. So peristalsis are the rhythmic, wave-like contractions of muscles in your esophagus, or we'll talk about in other parts of your body, that move the food through your GI tract, your gastrointestinal tract. Next, we absorb that food, right? So it's important that that food, the stuff that you ate, all the molecules of that food gets absorbed into your bloodstream. This is the goal. We really, really want to do this. This is the whole reason we eat food in the first place. We break it down so we can absorb it. Whatever we absorb, we use, right? And we can use it for a number of reasons, like we discussed in the overview. We can use it for energy. We can use it to build proteins in the body. We can use it to make DNA in our nuclei. So we can use the stuff that we break down. What we do not break down gets removed from the body as a waste product. That waste product would be through defecation. So defecation is when you remove the waste product, which is our feces. Right? So if you have any questions to this point, just let me know. We're not fully done yet, but just if you have any questions so far, just write them down. And the very last thing to talk about is just a real quick overview of what this digestive system looks like. We call it the alimentary canal, which is just basically that you have a tube that runs from your mouth to your anus. As odd as this sounds, kind of think of this like your body is as like a donut, right? So you have your body on the outside, and then on the inside, there's a hole. That's essentially what your alimentary canal is. It's obviously a little bit more extravagant than a hole inside of a donut, but what's going to happen is food goes into this hole and then it exits the other side of the hole. All the digestion happens in between the start and the finish, but the alimentary canal is essentially just a tube that runs from your mouth to your anus. It's not the only thing that's used when we are breaking down our foods. We also have additional or accessory organs that are going to help us with digestion. They are not directly in the alimentary canal, however, they work with it. And a few of these you may know already. So at this time, this is just a brief overview of our digestive processes and the layout of the digestive system. So if you have any questions at this time, please let me know.